Hey, what's up, Flipsters? Welcome back to another throwback episode of the Austin Flipsters. Today I'm walking you through an old project that we did, and you may be wondering, hey, what do I do if I'm flipping a house that has 10,000 bees living inside of it? Stay tuned to find out.
Hey Flipsters, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Lincoln, and we are happily married.
But not to each other.
We're old friends from college, and we're flipping houses in the Austin, Texas area.
And we're taking you along for the ride.
Okay, spoiler alert, there was a massive bee infestation. I want to take you guys through this flip, let you know exactly what I was thinking, why on earth I would flip a house that had the kind of problems that this one did. I want you to see what I saw walking up to the property, which is this beautiful house. It was kind of out in the suburbs, you know, real suburban neighborhood on the end of a cul-de-sac in South Austin. My first impression was like, wow, this thing, I mean, definitely needs some yard work. Obviously you've got some overgrown shrubs, some weeds in the driveway, but I was like, man, if we just power wash this stone, maybe a coat of paint on some of the trim, this is a nice looking house. We've been offered to buy the house for $160,000, which in this part of town is a complete steal. And I was like, man, why am I getting this house so cheap? As soon as I walked in the door, I figured out why I was getting this house so cheap. Check this out.
Oh, hell no!
So right when I walked in the front door, immediately to my right was the dining room. Well, what should have been the dining room and was instead completely full, like up to my shoulders with stuff. Y'all cannot even believe the amount of crap that was in this house. It turns out this is a hoarder house, which I had done a hoarder house before, and I kind of like hoarder houses because they really look scary when you get in there. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. But then when you start just loading up dumpsters with all of the crap, you start to realize like, hey, that's pretty easy to fix, and it scares away most of the other investors. One big upside, like I found a pretty dope umbrella, like a big golf umbrella. I kept it, I still use it, I'm not even scared. And this is the view of that same dining room looking back through the kitchen. So like we couldn't even get in that room. Like I didn't know what the floors look like, just like screw it, at this price, if I have to redo the floors, I'm buying it. Then I moved into the kitchen, right? And again, like there's a lot of crap everywhere, but that's really easy. What I'm looking at is these cabinets, and the cabinets look pretty good, but obviously immediately I can see back here something a little dark on the wall. Don't like the looks of that. Y'all know where I'm going with this.
Mold.
But kitchen, okay, you know, I could see updating it, doing counters and appliances and whatnot. And I'm looking at this floor, it's a little bit dated, but no major red flags. Like I'm probably gonna keep these cabinets. Okay, moving on then to the main living room. Boom, walking into the living room. Oh my God, look at this thing. Okay, not only do you have the normal crap, but like, look at this ceiling. This is a disaster. It's a two-story house, and this is the bottom floor, and the ceilings are like, they've got black stuff everywhere. I'm not even gonna say the M word.
Mold.
If you've got interior moisture on the lower level of this, like that's not good. I know I'm gonna have to probably rip out all of this sheetrock. I don't even know what's up in there. And this is the bottom floor, so I don't even wanna see what that second floor looks like. Downstairs, there's like this little bathroom. I think there was a turd in there when I got in there. Garage, you know, more of the same, just tons and tons of crap. I know my dumpster bill is gonna be huge on this house. Enough of the downstairs. I wanna see the upstairs. That's where all the bedrooms are. That's where the master is. And I'm checking out these stairs. They're in pretty good shape. It looks like these are salvageable. Right as soon as you get upstairs, there's this little office nook, and more of the same. Like it just had tons of crap. The cabinetry was actually pretty cheap, and it was laminate countertops. I'm thinking, you know, I may just rip this out and let somebody put in their own desk space or whatever they want to do. But then y'all, I saw the problem. Right across from this little office nook was the craziest looking room I had ever seen in a house I was gonna flip. I walked into the upstairs main living space, you know, kind of supposed to be your game room for hanging out, and I saw this. WTF am I looking at? It looks like a bomb went off in the ceiling. You got insulation just sopping wet everywhere, hanging down from the rafters. This fan, look at the blades on this fan look like they've been melted. The drywall tape is just hanging down. This looks like a scene from The Walking Dead. Okay, I go in to get a closer look, and there's a friggin' hole in the roof. Not just like some water damage, y'all. There was a full-on hole to the outside. I could see daylight streaming in. Then immediately things get scary because I'm walking around up here and there's flooring, but it's squishy. Like I can tell that the subfloor is just sopping wet, and I'm like, I don't even know if this is structurally sound. Like I gotta get this looked at. So I kind of tiptoed as gingerly as I could back across this living space into the master bedroom. Y'all, it only got worse. This is the master bedroom that I'm working with. So never mind the piles of crap over here. I'm looking at daylight. I'm looking literally at the sky. There's no roof. There's not just like a leak in the roof. There's no roof. Who didn't throw a tarp on this thing, right? Put a tarp on it. How hard is that? There's like no telling what kind of damage this has caused. All of this has gotten moisture coming down it. Like I can already see through to the studs on this thing. This is all gonna have to get ripped out and replaced. What a disaster. I can clearly see why this thing is so dirty cheap. And then I walked into the master bathroom upstairs, and y'all, oh my Lord, I've never smelled a smell like this in a house. You'll see right here at the bottom, there were 2 cat litter boxes. And turns out that giant hole in the ceiling, remember from just a second ago? There were cats living in that house, feral cats, and they were in the bathroom, like for years. I could not believe this stench, y'all. It was disgusting. Then we started to rip up some of that nasty sheetrock and some of those boards that had water damage we needed to replace. And I noticed from the outside of the house, like a few little honeybees just buzzing around. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit weird. So we ripped off some of the siding where a few of these little bees looked like they were kind of crawling up under the siding on the exterior of the house. And holy shit, I've never run so fast because a crap ton of bees came flying at us from the side of the house. It was very clear that this was not just 1 or 2 bees. These were thousands of bees, you guys, that were living in the floor joists between the second and first floor. 10,000 bees were living in this house, and I had no idea until after I'd bought the house. Like I knew it was bad. I knew I was gonna have to redo floors and a new roof, obviously, but like I didn't have any clue I was gonna be battling bees. I mean, look at them. They're just like, they're everywhere. They're crawling in and out, and like, you couldn't tell any of this from the exterior because they're all living in here, and just, you know, they trickle out 1, 2 at a time. You couldn't really tell. Thought, oh, okay, maybe it's just a few bees. And this was a massive hive. So once we actually pulled some boards out to see what we were dealing with, look at this, you guys. They're just honeycomb all up and down on the framing of this thing, just stuck to it. Massive, massive honeycombs. And I was freaking out because I don't know if you know this, but like the honeybee population is already kind of struggling and a lot of bees have been dying. And the last thing I wanted to do is just go in there blasting some Raid or, you know, a bunch of pesticides. Like, I don't want to kill the bees, but like they can't live here. I started calling around asking people like, hey, have you ever dealt with this? And not a lot of people had flipped a house with bees in it. I called a friend of mine who worked for a pest control company, and she was like, you got to get a certified beekeeper out there. Basically what they have to do is they got to find the queen. So they got to get as much of the honeycomb intact as they can, get the queen and move her safely, and then all the worker bees will follow the queen, or most of them will. But that's how you kind of make sure that the colony will survive. I'm like, how do we do that? Great question. The answer is with a giant friggin' vacuum cleaner. Seriously. So we called a beekeeper, she came out, removed them. And so we removed as much of the like honeycomb and boards intact, like, so we would take out the boards one by one. When I say we, I do not mean me, all right? Because I wouldn't go in anywhere near that. The first time that I saw these bees, by the way, like I started freaking out. I was like, I gotta get a closer look, but I don't have any bee equipment. This was so stupid. I'm like, I threw on a motorcycle helmet and a hoodie and like went up there, and then I friggin' just bailed because I was like, this is a terrible, terrible. I immediately regret this decision. I wish I had a picture of this. You guys, that's a true story. Anyway, we had to remove these boards and like try not to damage them as much as we could. But I was like, y'all are on your own. Like, I'm not getting up in there because, you know, bees. God bless her, she looks like a complete badass. She's up on a friggin' ladder, sucking out bees, wearing a beekeeper uniform. Amazing. Like, this is like friggin' who I want to be when I grow up. The beekeeper said that they were gonna spray some stuff in there, some chemicals that would reduce the pheromones or something. The bees use the scent, the pheromones, to track the scent to come back home. And so you want to get rid of that scent so they don't like think their home is still there. Meanwhile, you take the queen and you move her somewhere else and let her make the pheromones over there. Google it, or leave in the comments how you're supposed to get rid of bees. I trust the professionals because there's no way I'm going anywhere near these things. I'm certainly not gonna let my normal crew who does house flips deal with 10,000 friggin' bees in the house. Check out this view. This is from the second floor, the master bedroom that we're in, looking down into the first floor. This is where all the bees were living, like between the floors of the 2 stories. And now you can see straight clear through, and look, all this subfloor is just completely ruined. We have to rip out and replace all these boards. Sheetrock obviously has to be cut out. Man, you can just see daylight pouring through, and I can see straight down. After we got the bee situation taken care of, it was basically ripping out all that drywall. So this is a shot from downstairs looking at that living room again. And I don't know if you can tell, but all this drywall is new. We had to completely redo the ducting for the HVAC system because it had holes in it and it was just like complete loss. So we put in new HVAC system, put in a Nest thermostat, ripped out all these floors, and we had to have a mold remediation specialist come out and certify that there was no mold. But basically, you've got to cut out all the drywall with a massive margin of error for anywhere it might be. And then they come back and they test for levels to see if there's any mold left in the property. I'll put a link in the description if you guys are curious about mold remediation. It's kind of a big process and an expensive one, honestly. But if you want anybody to buy your house on the back end, and certainly for a lender to be comfortable lending on it, you've got to have a certification that there's no longer any possibility of mold in the house. All right, and now time for the big reveal. You can't believe what this thing looked like after we were done with it. Okay, the exterior was not much changed, but we added some new light fixtures, power washed the stone in the driveway, cleaned up these flower beds with a little bit of mulch, painted the front door. It was beautiful, but otherwise, the front of the house didn't look that much different. But the inside, y'all, oh my God, check this out. Okay, so you remember the dining room that was piled up to my waist or my shoulders with crap? Here it is now. Like, look, the floors look awesome. I love this little light fixture. Threw a little artwork on the wall. And we didn't need to go crazy in here. Like I said, just paint, removing the crap, and a new fixture, and voila, amazing. Getting into the kitchen, I was really proud of this kitchen. I thought it turned out beautifully. We did this kind of like sandy beige white tile on the floor. Like I said, we did new white countertops and just a simple white spa tile backsplash, put in some new appliances, stainless steel, and then touched up the cabinets, but the cabinets were in great shape. We just threw a little bit of hardware on them, and I thought the kitchen turned out amazing. A lot of times we'll just do subway tile instead of this long spa tile. The spa tile is a little bit more expensive, but man, look how elegant it looked in here. Simple staging, some spices, new dishwasher, nothing crazy. Beautiful kitchen. Y'all won't believe this, but this little downstairs bathroom that I found a turd in before, we flushed the toilet and it was gone. And then seriously, we cleaned up this glass. No renovation in this room. It was like a very, very deep clean. And here's this simple little breakfast nook. Beautiful clean view to the outside. You got these big trees looking in. And now check out the new living space. Look how amazing this turned out, y'all. Obviously there was a whole friggin' hole and moisture dripping down everywhere. Got completely rid of all of that. New fixture, great staging. Love the way our staging turned out in here. Shout out Kathleen from Starfish Home Staging. She did a great job staging this one. Can you believe, show the before on this thing. Oh my God, look at that. And then look at this. Here's a shot of it from another angle. Just amazing. Nice little couch. I love this tile too. We need to reuse that. Okay, let's move on up to the upstairs. The stairs were in great shape. We just painted the railing, cleaned up the steps a little bit. Easy peasy. That little office nook, like I said, we ripped out all the cabinets. We replaced all the subflooring and put new carpeting up here that extended into one of these bathrooms upstairs. Like, great space. Here's a little hall bath, your like little Jack and Jill for your upstairs bedrooms. We kept the existing cabinetry, put in new sinks and faucets on it, resurfaced the shower tile, some new fixtures and a mirror. Like, I thought it turned out great. Now let's see the upstairs nightmare where the giant hole in the roof was. Ta-da! We put on new decking and a whole new roof, got rid of all the rafters that were ruined up there, and put in some new sheetrock. And then now we don't have a sad, droopy fan. Now there's no more rain in your house, no more sunlight giving you a sunburn. This space turned out great. You don't feel like you're about to drop through the flooring when you walk on it. We got rid of all the feral cats. We love cats. Link to our video about our cat house. We even did an episode about cats. We love cats. We just don't want feral ones living in our flip houses. You understand feral cats, I'm sorry. Oh, we found raccoons. Raccoons in the attic too. I forgot to even tell you about that. There were raccoons in the attic. Got rid of them too. I'm sorry, raccoons. I know this was your habitat. I'm sorry, but the raccoons and the cats and the bees, you gotta go. I love you, but you gotta go. Okay, now let's check out the master. Ta-da! Wow, look at this thing, man. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember from like 5 minutes ago when there was a giant hole in the roof, but there's not. There's no hole in the roof. Oh, also underneath this floor, the 10,000 bees, they're gone. This is a great space. Again, simple staging with a nice master bed. Look how huge this space is. That's a king-size bed. That's amazing. And again, we don't have to go overboard, but it looks awesome. And check out your master bathroom. Hello. You guys remember the kitty litter that was right here full of cat dung? We threw it away. Amazing. But we did. We did. We put in all new tile in here, put in some new hardware. We didn't have to do a new tub or a new shower. Glass brick. Yeah, it's a little 90s. Who gives a shit? There's not 10,000 bees in your house anymore. And boom, here's your master vanity. Like, that's amazing. We added these nice little mirrors in here, these single faucet sinks right into your master closet. This looks like a human would actually want to live here. Let me know what you guys think below. Like, is this a house that you would live in knowing that it had 10,000 bees and cats living up in it? Or would you not care? I don't know. I would totally live in this house. I'm gross like that. Okay, and finally, let's talk about the numbers on this thing. We bought the house for $160,000. Our renovation costs were almost $106,000, y'all. We financed the property and we had $10,000 worth of financing costs. So our all-in cost on this house was just over $276,000. After about 2 weeks on market, we ended up selling the house for $334,000. After $19,191 in closing costs, that netted us a profit of $38,747. Woo, hell yeah! I could buy me a lot of bee suits with that kind of money. So let's talk about some of our lessons learned on this house. First of all, make sure there's no bees living in your house, because I thought I knew that, but I learned the hard way. There can be bees in your house. But seriously though, y'all, it goes to show a thorough inspection of the house can go a long way. We got a little overconfident knowing, okay, look, we can just throw a massive budget at this thing because we're gonna basically have to replace about half of the house anyway. So we didn't even think we needed an inspection because we were literally replacing all of the major elements anyway. We were replacing the roof, we were replacing the HVAC, we were putting in all new floor joists and flooring. Like, what more could there be? Bees. Tip number 2, which I stand by, like I said, I've done some other hoarder houses and maybe it's just my bias, but I've made a lot of money every time I've done that. So don't be scared by a bunch of junk laying around. That's an easy removal. Another tip, if you guys encounter a problem that you've never run into before, like 10,000 bees in your house, make sure you ask an expert. Just don't go running in there with a motorcycle helmet on and a can of Raid. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Consult an actual expert. In our case, it was a licensed beekeeper. She came in and properly removed the bees and took them to a safe location. Same with the mold. We weren't trying to, just slap a coat of bleach on there and call that mold problem resolved. We got an actual licensed professional to come in, certify that it was mold free. If you don't do that, it's gonna bite you on the sale, because your buyer's gonna wanna know, if they want the peace of mind to live in this house, they need to know that you actually took the proper steps to remedy all of the problems. Okay, enough preaching to you guys. I know there were a ton of other lessons that we learned on this. The good news is we made money. We live to fight another day. Be careful out there, you guys. You know you love my dad jokes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your comments. We love you. We'll see you next time. Peace.